Hello, my grots and gits. Welcome back to Happy Crump and Wargaming. Guys, I am all jazzed up. I'm all jacked up on chocolate milk. I'm ready to freaking rock and roll. Next week is the World Championships of Warhammer. It is the biggest event of the year. You're going to have the highest density of high-level players. It is going to be absolutely amazing, and you're going to be able to watch a ton of it. So what we're doing today is we're going to get you ready. We're going to prep you for like what exactly is happening in it, who all is going to be participating, what is the structure of the tournament, and how are we actually going to crown the #1 player in the world. So here we go, guys. World Championships of Warhammer. It is going to be taking place on the 21st through the 24th of November, which is next week if you're watching this video. It's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, which I lived in ATL for about 8 years. So I'm freaking pumped up to be going back and being able to represent Warhammer and try to throw my little hat in the arena for a championship. So this is the best of the best. The way that you get invited to this tournament, because you can't just show up, you have to be invited. You had to have earned what's called the golden ticket. And the golden ticket is something that tournaments could apply to GW for from across the world. So there's multiple ways to get a golden ticket, but it was pretty much always going to be you either won the tournament, or perhaps you got second place in the tournament, or you would get best painted, because some tournaments would give it away for best painted, which I found to be a little weird, but you know what? They did it. It's fine. So basically what's happening is that all the people who are going there have won their tournament, or they were second, and the person who won had already been awarded a ticket from another event. So everyone here is effectively a tournament winner. Now, like I said, there's going to be a few outliers. Some people may have won for best painted, etc. There could be some different reasons, but the density of high-quality players at this tournament is going to be absolutely insane. And you're going to have players from all over the world. As a matter of fact, right now we're expecting anywhere between 350 and 400 players. As of today, Tuesday, the 12th of November, we are actually, everyone should have had already submitted the list, and we are finalizing the amount of participants that will actually be showing up now, which is really freaking awesome. All right, so let's talk about the tournament structure. How many rounds? It is going to be an 8-round tournament. 8-round tournament. I have never played an 8-round tournament, so this is going to be exhausting, and I am freaking here for it. I'm totally pumped. So Thursday, you're going to have 2 rounds, Friday, 2 rounds, Saturday, 2 rounds, Sunday, 2 rounds. There is a potential 9th round that we'll have to play on Friday night as a shadow round. I'll explain what that means in just a moment. So basically, the way it's structured is that you've got their first 4 rounds are going to be in the pool phase. So they're going to separate the amount of participants up into 8 different groups. Let's just make mathematics easy. Let's say there are 400 participants. We're going to be separated into oh geez, my math sucks. Oh my gosh. Whatever. Let's say that there's going to be 40 people in each individual group. I'm ridiculous. Forgive me. And so you're going to play against all 40 people in your, well, you're not going to play against all 40, but you're going to play 4 games, and it's going to be essentially a miniature tournament. Now, the top 2 people out of each pool will then go on to move into what they call the championship round. Everyone who doesn't make it out of their pool will then go on into what's called the world round. Now, what's really exciting is that since there's only 40 players-ish, that's going to be in each pool, you're not going to automatically be out of contention for the championship round because you lose 1 game. So you could actually lose 1 game in the pool phase, make it out because you go 3-0 and you have like high scoring, and then go into the championship rounds, and then go on to win the Worlds, which is, I think, a very, very cool thing, because you know what? Sometimes just things happen, and we want to see how the best players in the world do over the course of the weekend, not necessarily just like, did they get a really bad matchup round 1. So I think it's a really, really cool mechanism that you're not automatically out just because you lose 1 game in the first pool phase. Now, if there's going to be some trouble in the pool phase, then what can happen is they might, or let's say it's a little too tight. There's so many people and that are going like 3-0-1. Say they had 3 wins and 1 draw, and they might have to do a shadow round, which means those people might have to play an extra round Friday night just to see who goes on to the championship rounds from their respective pools. All right, let's talk about the championship rounds. Now, I really enjoy this structure. Okay, if you your scores will reset. So basically, everyone in the championship rounds will be top dogs. Then, if you make it to the semifinals, you're going to be guaranteed either 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th place. And they're doing this very specifically. They're going to change all of the other metrics specifically for the top 4 people. If you make it to the semifinals, you're going to get 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. Everyone else is going to be subject to win path, strength of schedule. They're going to be scheduled to battle victory points for their tiebreakers and stuff. So you got to really pay attention to that stuff. But if you're in the semifinals, you're guaranteed first through fourth. And if you make it to the finals and you lose, you are guaranteed second. I like this. I think it is absolutely rewarding the top players. I know some people get a little bit weird with who gets first through fourth, because sometimes you can not even make it to the finals and then somehow get third. So I think this was a good way of them fixing it. Also, I woke up this morning and I just chose a little bit of violence, and I decided I hated Tau. So I decided to include this funny little comic of this Dark Angel just ripping pieces off of a Tau suit. So there we go. So that's championship rounds. It's only going to be 16 people in the championship rounds, and these are the guys who are going for freaking gold. Everyone else in the world's rounds, it really still is super, super important that they are trying and that they are scoring really well because of the country score. Now, this is a really cool mechanism that I really, really enjoy. So Games Workshop has implemented something called the country score. So all members of their respective country, all of the battle points they make, all of their win records will all go into a ranking system for how individual countries have performed. And it doesn't matter how many people. So just because one country might have 16 participants and another country might only have 4 participants, it does not mean that this country with 4 participants can't score higher than the one with 16, because it's going to be the average score of all the players will be added up to be able to rank the countries. How good is this country at Warhammer? I think it's a really cool idea. I'm not sure how well it's going to be received, but I think it's a super cool idea, and they're going to be able to like progressively make it even better as the years go. So I think that's really, really cool. There's non-specific prizes for this, but one of the things that this does is it seriously really encourages super high level play for people, even if they don't quite make the championship rounds cut. So even if your boy doesn't make championship rounds cut, I'm still going to be going for the best possible score I can. And I decided to include yet another Tau meme because, I don't know, I'm just feeling salty about Tau today. If you ever feel stupid, remember that the Tau tried to negotiate with the Tyranids 3 times. There you go. All right, now let's talk about the actual individual rules of the tournament. We already know it's an 8-rounder. We're going to have 2 games each day, with the exception of the championship round or the shadow round. Here are the rules. We are playing purely GW core rules. So if you're a WTC style player, it is not WTC. Now, luckily, they're basically the same thing. The main difference being that in GW rules, you can stand 1.1 inches away from a wall to block incoming charges, whereas in WTC, they will allow you to get a greater engagement range to force interactivity between melee units. So full GW rules, and there is a specific WCW or World Championship of Warhammer rules update, which very, very likely is going to be integrated in the full game. Now, I went through all of that in my video last week, and I'll link it here just so you guys, if you want to go see exactly what is in the full rules update, so you can read through it all. But I'm not going to go through it all here. But most of the changes were actually really, really good, or really good clarifications on FAQs, which just, I don't think all of them needed FAQs, but you know what? Sometimes people need an FAQ because they argue over a comma, and everyone here has met a rules lawyer, so I think it's great whenever they release FAQs. Now, clocks are allowed, but they're not mandatory on the tables. I'm going to take a quick rant break here. So first off, well done, Games Workshop. I really appreciate the fact that you listened to a bunch of feedback from your players. This particular ruling caused a lot of yelling and fighting and arguing. The original intent for Games Workshop when they were starting this event, they were going to say that there are no clocks. You're not allowed to use clocks on the table because they don't think clocks are part of the core game. While this is true, clocks are not part of the core game, the clocks are required to play a competitive game. They just are. There are games, and everyone who's watching this video, I guarantee you've played a match where you played for 5 hours, and in all reality, you only played for 30 minutes, and your opponent played for 4.5 hours. This has happened to all of us. It is something that means using a clock is necessary, not only out of respect for your opponent, but just to make the game fair. You need clocks to enforce that. Now, what Games Workshop had originally tried to do is they were trying to adapt the same ruling as Nova had adopted. I believe that is because of a particular person who wrote these rules, and these rules are really dumb. Well, effectively what it said is that you were originally going to not be allowed to use clocks at all. And if you tried to use a clock, you could get a yellow card. And so what they're going to do instead is they're going to have what's called a timeline. So they're going to announce periodically what round you should be on in your game. And if you're not on that round, then a judge is going to come over, and they're going to put a clock on the table, and they're going to divide the time up evenly. And if you guys miss too many of these landmarks, the judge is going to penalize you by making it so that in future it's the dumbest document I've ever read in my entire life. Effectively, what the document said was, guys, clocks work really well, but I hate clocks, so we're not going to use clocks. As a matter of fact, we're going to make a mechanism that's significantly worse than clocks, but it's not going to be clocks. But if we get in trouble, we're going to make you use clocks. Anyway, I digress. None of that matters because clocks are now allowed, and it's going to make the game work much better. So kudos to Games Workshop. You listened to player feedback. You improved your tournament. I love it. That's fantastic. Thank you. We are using all GW terrains and terrain layouts. We have 4-hour rounds, which I don't really like, but you know what? It's a defined time limit. No problem. No one should be clocking out in a 4-hour round. And you have 2 rounds per day, like we said, with the potential shadow round on Friday night. Now, I think this is real quick, interesting conversation to be had. The reason why I think it's such a good thing that we're putting clocks in, and the reason why I think Games Workshop didn't want to have clocks in, or the event team at least, this is not officially Games Workshop, the event team didn't want to have clocks in, is a really interesting conversation. Warhammer 40,000 has become a competitive game. Now listen, there's a lot of casual players. I play casually. I'll play casually with my friends all the time. But the game is evolving to be a very high level, high skill, high intensity competitive game. Now that Games Workshop is hosting the World Championship of Warhammer, they are accepting the fact that it is a highly competitive game. When they were trying to implement things like, oh, you're not allowed to use clocks, what that tells us as the competitive players is that Games Workshop wants to decrease the competitiveness of the game. Thankfully, that is not happening anymore, and Games Workshop is accepting the fact that it's a competitive game, and that people love that it's a competitive game because it's growing wildly fast. So this is really, really great. Now, last part about this video, let's talk about the streaming. All right, the streaming. There are going to be ways for you to watch the video, or the games, which I'm really excited for. There are a few drawbacks. So first off, you're going to be able to watch the games on GW's official Twitch channel. They should have a dedicated 40K channel. There's going to be a dedicated AOS channel, a dedicated Underworlds, or I think the Underworlds and Kill Team is split. So last year what they did is they flew out Adam Camilleri from Art of War Down Under, who's a wonderful human being, by the way. That guy rocks. Big fan. And he did a great job of commentary on it. There are no player mics. I don't like this. I think it really sucks that there's no player mics. I think it's just a really unfortunate that we're not going to get player mics. There are so many things that we as good players do on the table that we can verbalize, and when we're playing, that you guys could learn from. You guys could really, really enjoy. Games Workshop has a policy of no mics, so they're going to bring a commentator in, and Adam's going to do I don't know if Adam's coming this year or who it's going to be this year, but whoever it is going to do a great job, I'm sure, but unfortunately, we will not have player mics. Now, I think the reason that there are no player mics is, all right, GW says it's to not stress players, but what I think the reason why they don't have mics is they want to protect their brand. They don't want someone like cursing a lot on stream or saying controversial things on stream, which, to be fair, I do kind of understand from a brand protection. You got to be careful about what people are saying on stream, but realistically, they could just put like a disclaimer on and just let the players speak. I think we need mics on the tables, especially in the championship rounds. Maybe you could do something about the pool rounds. It's just going to lead to being a much more engaging environment for your player base to watch. But alas, we are going to have a very, very high level and skilled commentator who will be providing a lot of stuff. Now, there are also going to be some other streams. So if you want to watch in French or in Spanish, there are going to be streams specifically for those languages as well. And that's it. So, but yeah, my personal opinion, we should have Joe from War Games Live on because, well, heck, Joe is the best in the business. He does the best streams. I say we raise a petition to bring him to the World Championships next year. So if you guys want to join me. Bring back Joe. But anyway, that is what your viewing is going to be this year. So there's going to be lots of people in the chat. Guys, I'm freaking pumped for this. This is going to be an amazing experience. I'm going to do nightly updates for you guys to show you like how it's kind of going on behind the scenes. Exactly. Well, you know, I'm going to keep you updated on how I'm doing and how Shetzel's doing, who's always on the stream, who's always on the channel all the time. So we'll keep you guys updated about how our matches are going and exactly what we're seeing at the World Championships. Because guys, the level of play here is going to be absolutely insane. I'm completely stoked for it, and I'm stoked for all of you guys to see what all the lists are and to learn from them. I'll probably be going live maybe tomorrow or Thursday, and we're going to be talking about all the lists when the lists are officially released. I won't do a breakdown of my personal list until after the championships because I don't want people to have the secret goods. But I'll give you the full breakdown after the tournament, of course. So everyone, I'm gonna end the video here. I'm stoked for the tournament. I hope you guys are, and I hope I gave you a good little piece, something to look forward to. Anyway, until next time, happy crupping. Bye bye.